Let's talk about Mueller for a moment here and the report. As you know, and again, this is based on Barr's reading of it, but it seems the answer was fairly definitive on the question of collusion, quoting direct language from the report. But on the question of obstruction of justice, Robert Mueller said he did find evidence on both sides, which means he found evidence that the president on one side did obstruct justice here. Barr made the decision not going to prosecute. Should that be the Attorney General's decision or Congress's decision?
No, I think it's fully appropriate for the Attorney General to make that decision, and I'm not sure that's a fair characterization of what Mueller found. I think he left it open-ended, and for all of the reasons, whatever reasons he had, he punted that decision to the top man, the top of the totem pole. I think that's fine. Look, Mueller is someone...
It was pretty clear language, though, you must admit. He said it specifically, it does not exonerate the president on obstruction of justice, and that is not language the special counsel had to put into that report.
Well, that's true, but he's using the common parlance of federal investigators and prosecutors. That's the world he came out of. But let's make this important point. Rod Rosenstein, the Assistant Attorney General, also assisted the AG in that decision, and he's one that the Democrats have been saying for 2 years is an American hero. He served under the Obama administration for 8 years. These are men who have sound judgment. William Barr has been the Attorney General before. He's no spring chicken. He knows what he's doing, and I think that the American people have a lot of confidence in the decisions that have been made. And that's why so many people are saying it's time to move on and get to the big issues that are facing the country.
Would the American people have more confidence if they could see the full report, and would you support the release of the full report?
I do. Look, we voted 420 to 0 to release the full report, but we have to do it within the bounds of the law. And I think everyone can appreciate that there are certain pieces of information that have to be redacted. You can't have anything that's confidential, classified, something that deals with grand jury proceedings. Those are all prevented from public disclosure by law. So we'll get to it, and I think the American people deserve that.
And that's what they're getting to now. They're scrubbing it for grand jury information, for instance. But let me ask you this. For that public release to be meaningful, it would seem to me Congress would have to keep an open mind to make its own judgment. Is it not possible that William Barr made a judgment that elected members of Congress disagree with on this? Look, if you see evidence in there, evidence that leads you to a different conclusion, might you vote differently? Might you say that, well, there is evidence here of something that a U.S. president should not have been doing with regards to the investigation?
I think it's silly for anyone to suggest that any congressional committee here, my House Judiciary Committee, the Intel Committee, anyone else, could find something that Robert Mueller did not in 22 months of investigation with $25 million.
No, but Robert Mueller did not make a decision on obstruction of justice, as you know. And you know that the special counsels are designed really so that you take investigations like this out of, in effect, the political arena, right? So they can present the evidence, but many legal scholars argue that the ultimate judgment is up to Congress because it's a political judgment. You cannot indict a sitting president.
Well, sure, but Congress has to rely upon the expertise of the people who are not political. That's what the Attorney General's office is. That's what the Department of Justice is. Robert Mueller is beyond reproach, and everyone has said
Attorney Generals are not political. They're appointed by the president.
They're appointed by the president, but that has always been the case. And these are people who understand that the rule of law is what should govern and not politics. The Democrats here have politicized all of this, and that's why people's patience is wearing thin. We've spent too many American taxpayer dollars. We've spent too much time. There's no way that any congressional committee can find differently than what these experts did with all of that, all those resources and unlimited discretion, unlimited time. We're wasting the American people's time if we go forward with this. It's time to move on. We have major challenges facing the country, and that's what the Republican Party here is trying to push, and I hope our Democrat friends will do the same.
And to be fair, you're hearing that same point from Democrats as well, at least from some Democrats. Sure. Congressman Mike Johnson, we do appreciate having you on the show.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.